But I was so inspired by the way he would talk about things. I never got to meet him, which I'm absolutely mortified by.
Yeah.
But the way he talked about everything, I was like, wow, what a fucking competitor. Like, and as I had gotten older and really learned the power of competition and being willing to put myself out there and go for broke and like really find my limits, right? And I want to die. Like I can already tell you just the way that I'm wired, I will be horrified by the personal limitations that I have, because we all do. We're 50% hardwired, 50% malleable.
I remember when I lost everything the second time. And I just lost all the gyms and all the money and everything. And it was just like thinking that was the thing that I had lost rather than the thing that I had gained that was non-material being the more valuable of the two. That was like one of my big lessons. And I feel like you obviously have far more of those than I do, but that one stuck with me. They're afraid of getting started, or they don't have the discipline to keep going, which is they can't make the short-term sacrifice for the long-term achievement. So big picture, it's like there's usually some fear that's preventing from doing it. And then how it looks from a behavioral standpoint is they do not make the short-term sacrifice of discomfort for the long-term achievement, independent of whatever path they're talking about.
I don't live for my deathbed. I think that's a mistake. And I think a lot of people optimize for something they're going to go through. Maybe it lasts a week, maybe it lasts a year, but it isn't the bulk of your life. And so to over-optimize for that, I think is a mistake. But to get the perspective of like, oh my God, I remember when I used to stress about that, like, come on, this doesn't mean anything when you're facing your mortality.
You get asked a lot, I'm sure, like, hey, I'm going to talk to a mentor. What question should I ask them? And I got this really good one, which is, what do I believe to be true that isn't?
Whoa.
And so
that's a great question.
Right. And because I'm sure you see it. And if I talk to somebody, I can tell, like, they cast these views of what is and what isn't about business, about marriage, about health, whatever it is. And they say like, and then they operate off of that framework of assumptions, which might be patently false. And then they wonder why what they're doing is not working. It's like, because the entire foundation upon which you built this thing is just wrong. Right. And so, the easiest way to do that is to get people who are ahead of you who tell you, by the way, I don't think that belief is true, but you have to get in a place that somebody can actually communicate that to you and be open to it.
Yeah. A teacher, 99 times out of 100 has gotten good at one thing, teaching.
Yeah.
So people are like, why don't they teach us this in high school? Finance, mindset, whatever. And I'm like, because they don't fucking know. Like they can't do it in their own life. God bless them. There are so many things that like I'm terrible at. And so I feel their pain. They've gone down the path of being an educator. And so what they know how to do is educate, but they don't necessarily know finance, mindset, whatever. And if they did, they would be off doing those things. And so getting somebody who's expert at that stuff to teach is next to impossible until now. Like when I grew up, you had to go to the library to like find a quote or something like that. A teacher, 99 times out of 100 has gotten good at one thing, teaching. So people are like, why don't they teach us this in high school? Finance, mindset, whatever. And I'm like, because they don't fucking know. Like they can't do it in their own life. God bless them. There are so many things that like I'm terrible at. And so I feel their pain. They've gone down the path of being an educator. And so what they know how to do is educate, but they don't necessarily know finance, mindset, whatever. And if they did, they would be off doing those things. And so getting somebody who's expert at that stuff to teach is next to impossible until now. Like when I grew up, you had to go to the library to like find a quote or something like that. It's very easy to recognize that the world really is a simulation because reality is the number of photons falling on an object, but you perceive it as color or whatever, not math. And so putting myself in either of those, like, hey, this isn't really going to matter at some point, and oh, that thing that's creating your sense of identity, it could be made up anyway. I don't think it is, but like, it's very helpful to remind myself that those are malleable things. From the time I was a little kid, so I grew up lower middle class, but from the time I was a kid, I told everybody, I am going to be rich. Like, you don't understand. I'm going to be rich. I was so angered by not being able to get the things that I wanted as a kid. And I had a little problem with authority. And so I felt like I was being told that I had this box to stay in. I was like, no. I had always had these crazy dreams. And I just believed I could make it come true. But I'm terrifyingly insecure that I'm not smart enough to pull it off. And I have something I need to prove to myself, to my wife, my father-in-law, my own parents. Like, no matter how much I achieve, I still have this. right? So I have this crushing need to validate myself and to feel like, no, you really did have it, kid.
Yeah.
But I am psychotic at my ability to delay gratification.
The process of being a good salesperson is being able to help people break the beliefs that they have about themselves or about the realities that are not true. And so I think if you can basically just unencumber somebody, then it becomes very easy to sell someone. Because if you have this struggle, we have this solution. Do you believe that buying this solution will get you more likely to get to the outcome you want? Yes. What are we doing? Let's go. You know what I mean? But talking to that person, you have to wade through all this stuff. But like, I believe that, like, you know, by speaking that, it's like, I believe that you could start a call and just be like, you want to do it? And then just start from there.
But I would expect you to dunk on me if you can, right? And then be like, help me up, bro. We're in the All-Star game. You know, it's all good. Like, we both fucking made it. But at the same time, like, I'm going to be trying to dunk on you. You know what I mean? But like with a smile and like a handshake and the way that you hear like the guys that were on that first dream team talk about each other and like repping the country, which is to me what you say when you want to honor the game. It's like, hey, we're fucking repping something, in that case, America, basketball. But we're here to